decide to be rich today, who gonna stop you? Who? If you decide you want to be rich, all you gotta do is start.
If I was to quit rapping and I said I want to go to the NBA, I would be in the NBA.
No, you wouldn't.
Yes.
No, you wouldn't.
Yes, I would.
No, you wouldn't. Why would you think you could make it to the NBA?
Because I think I could do anything.
We all should think that we're great. There's no reason for you to not think that you're great. If you don't think you're great, ask yourself why. Why don't you think the highest of yourself?
You see this guy here staring back at you? That's your toughest opponent. Every time you get into the ring, that's who you're going against. I believe that in boxing, and I do believe that in life.
I should always be a step ahead because I'm thinking differently, because I'm thinking about myself. Making myself better puts me in a position to make others better.
Is first of all, you'll never have a feeling of self-esteem and self-worth. You'll never feel wonderful about yourself until you know that you are good at what you're doing. If you do not love your work enough to want to be the best at it, get out of it the way you would get out of a burning house. Do not stay at a job that you do not love, because it is the high road to failure, dissatisfaction, frustration, and unhappiness in life.
Finish what you started. Finish what you started. Okay? I know it's getting tough. You're tired. It feels impossible. It's getting harder. But finish what you started. Don't forget why you even started in the first place. But you must finish what you started. Everybody said you wouldn't finish. Everybody counted you out. Don't you dare prove them right. Here, finish what you started. Don't give up on yourself. You can do it, okay?
When we were kids, my mom hung a poster over our bed. It had a picture of a bumblebee, and under the picture, the caption read, "According to all aerodynamic laws, the bumblebee cannot fly because its body weight is not in the right proportion to its wingspan. But ignoring these laws, the bee flies anyway."
Anyhow, life is hard. Okay, fellas, life is hard. It's always been hard from the beginning, and it will always be hard. The Bible says man's days are few and full of trouble.
The fear is never reaching your potential.
That's it.
That always falling short, always quitting before you're done, always procrastinating, always not doing the right thing. And then one day you're an old man.
Yep.
And you look back and go, God, I could have been great.
A blade does not become strong. It does not become tempered until it's been through the fire several times. And this is just your first or second time through the fire. And there's a lot of hammer work that has to take place. And then you're going to have to go back in the forge again. And it's hot, and it melts you down, and you're uncomfortable. And then life is going to pull you out, and it's going to put you on the anvil, and it's going to hammer on you some more. And you're going to say, what? Am I done yet? Am I a sword for the ages? You're not done yet. And don't look for what you are supposed to be fully, completely polished, sharpened, edged, tempered at 26 or 36, at 46. You've got a lot more forge time left. You've got a lot more hammer blows left, and it takes time. But if you will patiently embrace the process, then by the time you get up in years, you can be a man that you're proud of.
You get up every day, you're entitled to nothing. Nobody owes you nothing. You could have talent, but if you don't have discipline and you don't execute, you don't focus, what do you get? Nothing. If you're complacent and not paying attention to detail, what does that get you? Nothing. Nothing is acceptable but your best.
In the Far East, they have something that's called the Chinese bamboo tree.
The Chinese bamboo tree takes 5 years to grow. They have to water and fertilize the ground where it is every day. And it doesn't break through the ground until the 5th year. But once it breaks through the ground, within 5 weeks, it grows 90 feet tall. Now the question is, does it grow 90 feet tall in 5 weeks or 5 years? The answer is obvious. It grows 90 feet tall in 5 years. Because at any time that person stopped watering and nurturing and fertilizing that dream, that bamboo tree would have died in the ground. How long have you been working on your dream? And you have nothing to show. This is all you got to show. People are going to do that to you. And some people, ladies and gentlemen, they stop because they don't see instant results. It doesn't happen quickly. They stop. Oh, no. You got to keep on watering your dream. And when it began to happen, they stopped laughing. We didn't know how you're going to make payroll during those times when you failed and things didn't work out. They were nowhere to be found. But you know what I discovered? When you're working at your dream, somebody said the harder the battle, the sweeter the victory. Oh, it's sweet to you. It's good to you. Why? See, when it's hard and there's a struggle, see, what you become in the process is more important than the dream. That's far more important. The kind of person you become, the character that you build, the courage that you develop, the faith that you're manifesting. Oh, it's something that you get up in the morning, you look yourself in the mirror, you're a different kind of person. You walk with a different kind of spirit. People know that you know what life is, that you have embraced life. You know it was hard, but you did it hard.
Which means to have a vision, and even though the vision is in the air or the sky, then build a foundation under your dreams. And when you see men and women who rise from poverty and obscurity to fame and renown, you invariably see someone who had a vision of what they could be and have and do that was far beyond what they were. Every one of us has had an experience. At one time, when we were small, we had a vision of being grown up and having our own cars. And as we grew older, we had a vision of having our own homes and our own families. And as we grew older, we had a vision of traveling and going to Europe. We fulfill all our visions. The wonderful thing is this, is that we always tend to achieve our goals. The problem is that our goals are set so low that even when we do achieve them, they don't turn us on. They don't fill us with enthusiasm. So dream big dreams, if you like, and focus on results, not activities. This is the key. Be clear about the results that you're trying to accomplish. This is one of the keys of peak performance, by the way. All peak performers are result-oriented. All losers or underachievers tend to be activity-oriented. And in activity orientation, what they do is they work very, very hard. Sometimes they work frantically. Sometimes they work longer hours than you do, but they lose sight of the results. Ben Trigo, the strategic thinker, said, the very worst thing in the world is to do very efficiently what need not be done at all.
There is no faith and no courage and no sacrifice in doing what is expedient. What do you say to those viewers that don't pursue their dreams and are locked in their careers because they are too afraid to take risks?
Well, you should be afraid of taking risks and pursuing something meaningful. But you should be more afraid of staying where you are if it's making you miserable. It's like the first thing you want to do is dispense with the idea that you get to have any permanent security outside of your ability to contend and adapt. It's the same issue with children. It's like you're paying a price by sitting there being miserable. And you might say, well, the devil I know is better than the one I don't. It's like, don't be so sure of that. The clock is ticking. Yeah, and if you're miserable in your job now and you change nothing, in 5 years, you'll be much more miserable and you'll be a lot older.
If you look at the greats in anything, in any walk of life, the greats do things when they don't always want to. And that's the separation. For me, that's what I found. Because I can sure as hell tell you that there were days where I hated my coach. There were days where we got in fights, we got in arguments, we couldn't stand what we were doing. But, you know, I think that was just really how we worked. Like, he was somebody who was so perfect for me that if I ever would have swam for anybody else, I never would have had the chance to do what I did, because he challenged me in ways and forced my mind to think differently. You know, for me as a kid growing up, I'm huge into music, and music is a big part of my life, and I'm a huge Biggie Smalls fan, and he wrote a song called "The Sky Is the Limit." And as a kid growing up, I believed that. I believed that whatever I put my mind to, and if I was willing to make sacrifices and I was dedicated, that I could achieve absolutely anything.
And you still do?
I still do.
So you listen to me and you listen well. Are you behind on your credit card bills? Good, pick up the phone and start dialing. Is your landlord ready to evict you? Good, pick up the phone and start dialing. I want you to deal with your problems.
I said it before and I'll say it again. Life moves pretty fast. You don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.
Dr. Carter had a tear in his eye. I could tell he felt for me. And he said, son, I'm sorry to say you're not gonna box again. And I looked at him. I said, no, Dr. Carter, you're wrong. I am gonna box again. I said, you don't understand what kind of man I am.
Dreams are something you have to believe in. I almost gave up on mine. To all of you out there, please keep your dreams alive.
There's several days I don't want to do shit. I procrastinate like a mother. This is one of those days, man. I put my shoes and my socks and my shorts on every day. Woke up this morning, just stared at them. Didn't want to do shit. Didn't know why I was doing this shit. A lot of times we forget just how badass we are. So what I do, and I've done for so many years, I write down. This is just about a 3-year book, but I've been writing down for years. 123 mile week, 20, 18, 16, all by myself, trading alone. All this shit I write down here to remind me of the work I put into the craft that is myself. We have to always remember our purpose will always be there. I have nothing in front of me right now. No race, no nothing. But the purpose is myself. Your mind has to be stronger than your feelings. On those bad days, when you think that you're alone, you just might be. Because you know why? No one else wants to do it. So you be the motherfucker that always gets it done.
Don't half-ass it. Don't half-ass it. I mean, think about it. If you're gonna do something, you've chosen to do something, whatever it is, easy, hard. If you give it your all and you don't half-ass it, win, lose, draw, get what you want, don't get what you want, whatever the outcome is, if you don't half-ass it, at least you're not gonna have to wonder, ooh, would the outcome have been different? What if I did give it my all? And boy, wondering that is what keeps us up at night.
If you have to ask how to get motivated to go to the gym, you don't need to be going to the gym. You don't want it enough. When you're sick and tired of looking and feeling like, you'll show up on the I'll see you there, because you're gonna look in the mirror and you're gonna be like, fuck that. You're gonna want to be in the gym.
Never say never, because limits, like fears, are often just an illusion.
If you're going to try, go all the way. Otherwise, don't even start. If you're going to try, go all the way. This could mean losing girlfriends, wives, relatives, jobs, and maybe your mind. Go all the way. It could mean not eating for 3 or 4 days. It could mean freezing at a park bench. It can mean jail. It can mean derision, mockery, isolation. Isolation is the gift. All the others are a test of your endurance, or how much you really want to do it. And you'll do it, despite rejection and the worst odds, and it will be better than anything you could imagine. If you're going to try, go all the way. There's no other feeling like that. You'll be alone with the gods, and the nights will flame with fire. Do it. Do it. All the way. All the way. It's the only good fight there is.
You can't wait for everything to be perfect to start living your life. I'm never gonna get to that where everything's okay, where everything looks a certain way. And in the meantime, I'm burning the best time I do have available. I'm burning this candle down, and I'm saying as soon as it gets bright enough or warm enough in here, I'm gonna show up. But the candle's getting smaller.
We're all gonna die one day.
Yeah, it's true.
So we live like that. Live like you could die tomorrow. You know, go for it.
Your biggest enemy is you. My whole book is about you battling yourself. People don't understand it's you against you.
Whether it's 3 in the morning or 3 in the afternoon, let's work out, never looking back. Helps to ensure we don't look to the past for our greatest hour. You gotta be moving somewhere with a vision you can get there, belief in that. If you can do that, and you're willing to sacrifice a few hours of sleep, or sacrifice a little bit of those days when you're feeling weak, and you're tired, you just suck it up and push through it. I swear, that's the hardest part. Once you get over that step and go through that devil's in that doorway, man, it just opens up possibilities. It's just a better life, man. And you're in charge of it.
Legends aren't defined by their successes. They're defined by how they bounce back from their failures.
And don't be afraid to dream big. The saying is that if your dreams don't scare you to death, they're not big enough. Your dream needs to be bigger than you are right now.
If someone asks you a question, you try to say the right answer. Your entire life is a test. And when did you have the most anxiety in grammar school and high school?
No question.
On test day.
No question.
So your entire life become this test. I ain't trying to say the right answer. I am just doing what I feel. My mama said trying is failing. There is no ifs, woulds, coulds, shoulds. It just is, and we just are.
Why would you not go for it? Why would you not take a chance? At one point in time, you got to take a chance on you.
But never stop fighting. No matter what anyone says, no matter how they try to compromise your vision. If it's in your gut, if it's in your soul, there's no worldly possessions that should come between you and your expression.
But remember, dreams without goals are just dreams, and they ultimately fuel disappointment.
So what do you do with your life? How do you make the most of it?
Why go to a tournament if you're not going there to try and win? There's really no point in even going. That's the attitude I've had my entire life, and that's the attitude I will always have. As I would explain to my dad, second sucks, and third's even worse. That's just a feeling.
But on tour, that's not too bad sometimes, though.
That's not too bad, but I want to win. That's just my nature.
I always felt like I could do anything. That's the main thing people are controlled by. Thoughts, their perception of themselves. They're slowed down by their perception of themselves. If you're taught you can't do anything, you won't do anything. I was taught I could do everything.
At one point in time, you got to take a chance on you.
If you can get a mental image of the person you would most like to become, begin now to act as that person would act in everything you do. Gradually, imperceptibly, you will actually become that person.
Just decide not to be a loser anymore. Live your life like there's a documentary crew following you around and you are analyzing your own behavior. Do what you would want to do so that your kids one day would look back at it and see that documentary and look on it with pride, like, wow, my dad was a bad mother. He really did what he had to do.
Courage is the key to life itself. There are a lot of people who are born in situations where they say, I'll never get out of this. So they won't. I say to people who say, well, I would like to have done so and so and so. So, well, you could have done it. So, well, I couldn't get out of here. Man, the bus runs every day.
Some of y'all don't want it. That's why you ain't got it. Excuses sound best to the person that's making them up.
Life is not easy. It is not. Don't try to make it that way. Life's not fair. It never was. It isn't now, and it won't ever be. Do not fall into the trap, the entitlement trap, of feeling like you're a victim. You are not. Get over it and get on with it. And yes, most things are more rewarding when you break a sweat to get them.
Work hard. Be somebody. Yeah. Be something more than what you see in the mirror. Let the world be your mirror. Don't let them judge you, because the mirror can't judge you. You judge what you see in the mirror.
Whenever someone said to me, it can't be done, I heard it can be done. When they said no, I heard yes. And when they said it's impossible, I heard it is possible. I'm a strong believer of what Nelson Mandela said, that everything is always impossible until someone does it. Well, I'm gonna be the one that said to myself, I'm gonna do it and I'm gonna show it to them. Maybe it has never been done before. That's perfectly fine with me. But I'm gonna do it.
I don't care what you're going to do, but go out there and make something of yourself for God's sake. Be an honest person and work and get to the top of whatever it is that you want to get to the top of. You know, and stand up for yourself like a respectable human being and be a bit of a light on the world instead of a blight.
Everyone is jealous of what you've got. No one is jealous of how you got it. People see the trophies, but not the training ground.
Everybody wants the view, but no one wants the climb.
The discipline is the most difficult thing, not only in the sports, but in the life.
But if you are sitting in this room and you have extraordinary aspirations, then you're gonna have to do extra. It's no other way. I'm sorry, but here's the fact. All of you have extraordinary capabilities, all of you. You have to decide if you are willing to do the things to put you in that category.
Without commitment, you'll never start. But more importantly, without consistency, you'll never finish.
What an inspiring day, the day you can bring yourself to decide. Resolve says I will, two of the most powerful words in the language. Benjamin Disraeli said, nothing can resist a human will that will stake its existence on its purpose. Shortly put, I'll do it or die.
Leave no stone unturned. Get better every single day. And if I lived that way, then over time, I'd have something that was beautiful. But that was my philosophy. It seems like a pretty simple one, but if you live your life to just get better every single day, and do that for 20 years, what do you have?
You're born with a gift. If not that, then you get good at something along the way. And what you're good at, you don't take for granted. You don't betray it.
You have to lose your fear of failure. Failure is a part of the process. People who never fail, never try.
Nobody's going to believe in you until you've already done it. Nobody's going to come and celebrate with you until you've already done it. The work is going to come before the belief, which means you're going to have to work for a long fucking time by yourself with no applause, with no awards, with nobody telling you good job. And then once you start to build something and people start to see the momentum and they start to see the result and you start doing some things, then you're going to get a little belief. And then what's going to happen is you're going to believe. And then what's going to happen? You're going to go do a little bit more work and a little bit more work. The results are going to come more. More people are going to believe. Nobody fucking believes in you because you haven't done anything yet.
Time and effort, you build a stronger human. You build a stronger body, you build a stronger mind, you build accomplishments and will and momentum, and then you look back and you go, hey man, I'm not washing tables anymore. When you ain't got, and there's nothing going on, to have faith then is so difficult.
And that's just real. At the center of bringing any dream into fruition is self-discipline. Something as simple as food and eating is not about your body as much as it is about your mind. It's getting command of your mind to be able to choose actions that are in your own best interest.
This is why I say stay hard. Because when you weren't given the gifts, the only thing you can do in life is stay hard. And I know people cannot stand me. They can't stand this talk. This is all you can do. There's no magic pill or a magic potion. All you can do is outwork the man that God created or woman in you. And what that looks like is unfun. That's why I said do not do a documentary on me. Because people will not see the truth. They will see what they want to see is, I don't want to live like that. Good. And you will live exactly the way you live now, questioning who you are, wondering what is possible, wondering what you are capable of doing. That's how that looks. Or you can be me, which, am I happy? I don't know. Never really thought about it. Don't really care about it. Because all I really cared about was when I looked in that mirror, I saw a piece of
You're always going to need to push yourself. You're always going to need to parent yourself. So what is the net advice on this? What is the bottom line? The bottom line is no one's coming. No one. No one's coming to push you. No one's coming to tell you to turn the TV off. No one's coming to tell you to get out the door and exercise. Nobody's coming to tell you to apply for that job that you've always dreamt about. Nobody's coming to write the business plan for you. It's up to you.
Most men live lives of quiet desperation. It's one of my favorite quotes ever because it's true. And I've been that guy.
Oh my God.
You're just in this world where you just can't wait to just run away.
Our minds are like a fucking garage. If you open a garage and it's all cluttered up, it's all fucked up, you can't put your car in it. But if you organize that fucking garage and you put everything in its rightful spot, you can pull that car in there. You can put 2 cars in there. You can put bikes in there. And that's like with the mind. People talk about discipline and determination and repetitions and all this consistency. Why people fall off the wagon so often is because their mind is full of shit.
But before you can ever reach anything, you have to believe it. You don't just mistakenly become great at something.
And my personal question to you is, why not you? You've got the brains, you can make decisions, you can study the plan, you can change your life, you can grow immensely in the next few years, you can make your dreams come true, you can build a financial wall around your family nothing can get through, you can become healthy, you can become powerful. Why not you?
Obsession's gonna be talent every time. You got all the talent in the world, but are you obsessed? Is it all you ever think about? Let's face it, it's you against you out there.
The pain of discipline or the pain of regret. Go for the discipline because it weighs ounces. The regret weighs tons because it can accumulate.
One thing important is that we all have these moments in time that either make you or break you, that can determine the rest of your life. The rest of your life can be determined by one simple decision. 19 years ago, 300 pounds, I was spraying for cockroaches. I made a decision to try to be a Navy SEAL. My whole goal was to go on this path every day after work and to run a mile to a mile and a half. This rock was about the 0.5 mark in my run. This rock was a moment that should have broken me. I got 0.5 into it. I weighed 297 pounds. I sat on this rock and I had a decision to make. I wanted to quit. I wanted to give up. There wasn't some inspirational quote. There wasn't nothing. It was me, myself, and it was freezing out here. I had to make a decision. The decision I make was to get up and keep on going. That one moment changed the rest of my life.
And if you can see it here, and you have the courage enough to speak it will happen. A lot of times people believe in certain things, but they keep to themselves. They don't put it out there. If you truly believe in it, if you become vocal with it, you are creating that law of attraction and it will become reality.
The heaviest things in life aren't iron and gold, but unmade decisions. The reason you are stressed is that you have decisions to make and you're not making them.
So develop a sense of urgency. Get the reputation as the person who does things fast. Develop a reputation for speed and dependability, and your future will just open up in front of you. Imagine if you owned a company and you had 2 people in the company, and both of them were reasonably well talented, both of them were doing reasonably well, except one person had a sense of urgency and did things fast, and every time you give them something to do, they took it and they ran with it like a ball player catching a fumble and running for the goal line. The other person got to it after lunch, or maybe next Monday, or no rush, week's almost over, Thursday afternoon, and so on. Which one would you give additional responsibility to? Which one would you promote? Which one would you spend money training? Which one would you send to places where you needed help? It's always the person with a sense of urgency.
Heroes and villains always have the same backstory, pain. The difference is what they choose to do about it. Villain says, the world hurt me, I'll hurt it back. The hero says, the world hurt me, I'm not going to let it hurt anybody else. Heroes use pain. Villains villains are used by it.
I'd like to thank my mom up here who never picked me up when I fell. She taught me how to get up when I was knocked down. I thank my uncle for always being there for me. And I thank all of you out here who fought in these wars. You have no idea how big of a deal this is to me. I was not always this strong guy you see. I went through a lot of hard times in my life to get here today. All I wanted to be was an uncommon man. In my whole life, I was not that. Much worse than that. I read stories about men like you, Doc, who had the courage to jump on grenades and stuff like that. I walked in the recruiter's office and he looked at me and he said, "You're fat and you're black." I said, "I want to be a Navy SEAL." I didn't know there'd only been 35 African-American Navy SEALs at that time in over 70 years. He said, I basically had to lose 106 pounds in less than 3 months because of my age. I was getting too old. I came back 3 months later, 106 pounds lighter, went through 3 hell weeks. That is where I met Marcus Luttrell, Danny Dietz, Michael Murphy, another Medal of Honor winner. I went through Hell Week with all these guys, real heroes. I am not a hero. I served with real heroes. I have the most respect I can possibly muster up for all of you in this room. I know what it takes to be a combat soldier, and I used to look for courage. I thought courage was a man who won the Medal of Honor. But courage is a man who's willing to put those boots on every single day of his life to go out there and fight for this country where nobody even knows what the hell they're doing or where the hell they're at. You do it for the man beside you.
You can't be comfortable with yourself if you don't know who yourself is. And you can't know who yourself is if you don't stop looking at how everybody around you is and start looking at what makes you comfortable and what makes you uniquely you. There's roughly close to, I guess, about 8 billion people on this planet, but there's only one you. Would you stand out in a crowd? Not in a bad way. But what makes you you doesn't need to be something that's immoral or obnoxious or uncomfortable, but just uniquely you.
400 trillion to 1. When you understand that math, how can't you live your life? That's how rare it is to be a human being. Now, what are you waiting for? Like, you've been given this ridiculous triple miracle. Like, you're literally more likely to win the lotto 10 times in your life than actually have a life. So I ask you, my friends, with this one life, you're gonna sit on your couch and dwell? You're gonna be upset about some shortcoming? You're gonna be upset about that thing that happened last week that you up? I'm asking you, I'm promising you, please take this swing, make this at bat. I am so tired of people stopping because their uncle critiqued them, or their mom made fun of them along the way, or their girlfriend doesn't think that they can do it. You've got one at bat, 400 trillion to 1. Please do something about it. We're living through the greatest era to be alive ever. Yes, there's stuff. I got news for you. There's always stuff. But when you take control of your at-bat, when you put it all on yourself, when it's your fault and your wins, when you own it, that's when it starts happening. So please, please squeeze the out of your one life.
There comes a day where push comes to shove. Where being mediocre, being like average and shit just burns and sucks so much. You can't deal with it one more day, and you get off your and you create something that's always been there. It's always been inside of you trying to come out, but you've never wanted to unwrap it because it's too much pain and commitment. You were scared you were gonna fail. You were scared if you started, you never finish it. You didn't want to tell anyone about it. You knew it was there, but you never wanted to embark on it until something hits. You get fired or somebody else gets success, remind you of what you could have been. And then the spark is born. And no matter what happens, I'm never gonna be in this boat again. And you get up and you go, even if it gets knocked down, you just keep going, you're a wild man. And life has never been so sweet.
You got a choice. You got talent. You got a chance, and I won't hear about your environment, what your mama didn't give you, and the white man won't give you no shot. You got a chance. Use it while you're still alive.
It's hard
when you're young to wake up in the off season at 6 a.m. to go train and work out, knowing that all your friends are sleeping in and eating pancakes. It's hard when you're on your way to practice, weighed down with all your gear, and it's 90 degrees out and all the other kids are at the pool or at the beach, and your body is already completely exhausted from workouts in 2-a-days. It's hard to throw, catch, block, and tackle, and hit kids when they're way bigger and way more developed than you, only to go home that night bruised and battered and strained, but knowing you have to show up again the next day for just the chance to try again. But understand this, life is hard.
Driven human beings are going to always feel like they're behind. They're going to always feel like they're not doing good enough. They're going to always feel like they're not far enough. They're all going to always feel like you're losing. Look, winning, this is how it feels. 90% of the time, you're going to feel like you're getting your balls kicked in, all right? 8% of the time, you're going to be confused and you're frustrated. 2% of the time, you actually win. And those moments come and go, and then you're back in the 90%. And that's the reality of a winner's life.
Jocko, what do you think about when you don't feel like getting after it?
Rome wasn't built in a day. We all know that. Everyone hears that. But Rome also didn't fall apart overnight either. It took hundreds of years for Rome to reach its peak, but it also took time, hundreds of years, for Rome to decay and fall apart. And that is representative of life, because you don't achieve worthwhile goals quickly or easily. They take time. They take struggle. They take relentless pursuit day in and day out. That's what it takes. But also, things don't usually fall apart quickly either. At least at first, it's a slow process. A little slip here, a little setback over there, a little wearing down of discipline and will over time. That's the thing. Success and failure are generally slow processes. Either slowly building things up or gradually tearing them down. And that's why I say you've got to pay attention. You have to watch. You have to watch every single second. Because those seconds, they turn into minutes. And minutes turn into hours, and hours turn into days, and days turn into years. And so, that second that just went by, that counted. And so did that second. And so did that one. And in those precious seconds, you were either building or you were decaying. You were either gaining ground or you were losing ground. In that second. And in every second. Every second counts. So, make every second count.
At some point, everything's going to go south on you. Everything's going to go south, and you're going to say, this is it. This is how I end. Now, you can either accept that, or you can get to work. That's all it is. You just begin.
you do the math. You solve one problem, then you solve the next one, and then the next. And if you solve enough problems, you get to come home.